Okay.
Welcome, everybody. Thanks a lot for being here. My name is Claudia Bodino. I'm currently working at the European Commission, and today I'm with my colleague Athena Vassilopoulos. We are really excited to bring our contribution to this conference, and thanks again for this great opportunity. As I told you, I'm working in the Commission, specifically in Digit, and I'm currently leading the Big Data Test Infrastructure Initiative that we are going to present in a few minutes. Before joining the Commission, I had a long track of, let's say, working experience, mainly in the field of data science, data governance, interoperability, first in the private sector and now in the public sector. Today, as you can see from the slide, we are going to briefly introduce the Digital Europe program, and then our project, that is the Big Data Test Infrastructure, also BDTI. As you can see in the next slide, we are providing you a quick overview about the Digital Europe program. That is basically the new European funding program that aims to accelerate the recovery and also to drive the digital transformation of the European Union. Specifically, the DET program would like to target citizens, but also public sector and the private sector. With a big budget of 7.5 billion, the DET program provides strategic support to answer big challenges, supporting projects and concrete programs and activities in 5 key, I would say, main areas that you can see in this slide. The high performance in computing, the cybersecurity area, then the advanced digital skills, the deployment and the wide use of digital technologies, and finally AI, artificial intelligence. As you can see in the next slide, BDTI is basically part of the last pillar, the pillar about data for AI. In this building block, the main goals and the main objectives are really to boost public administration at each level, not just at national level, but also at local and regional level, in testing and developing data services that could be products or could be maybe advice, and specifically trying to focus on reusing public sector information. This is it's very aligned with the Open Data Directive and aims in experimenting in the context of the EU data strategy, basically where the EU data strategy is defining different thematic data spaces. So the idea is to really foster data collaboratives, data for good, also trying to leverage the private sector and the GovTech sector. The idea is to really concretely provide new way of collaborating together and using the support from academia, from GovTech sector to support and to help public sector in being more data-driven. In order to provide you a little bit more of background from a legislative perspective, in this slide you can see the main building blocks of the European policy background that are really quickly summarized. The first one that is the Open Data Directive. Basically, it fosters the reuse of public sector information, and it obliges member states to publish high-value datasets, for example, the business registry or statistical data, using APIs. APIs that should be free. This is very important. The second pillar is about the European data strategy that aims the creation of thematic data spaces, as I was saying before, to create a single market also for data at European level, with a specific attention to the business, to government, to the B2G data sharing. Then we have the Data Governance Act that aims in fostering, let's say, availability, trust, and sharing of data from different sectors, and also from different providers. And in this pillar, in this legislative content, there is a special attention to the cross-border dimension and to the creation of products that are related to data spaces in a cross-border direction. Then we have the AI package, that it's an ambitious series of interventions to ensure that the AI is human-centric and also trustworthy. And then we have the Data Act. In the Data Act, basically, we are trying to design measures for a fair and innovative data economy and define who can create value from which condition, under which condition, and also from which data. Let me move now to our main topic, that is the big data test infrastructure. So, first of all, big data test infrastructure is not just for big data, but it's more, I would say, more ambitious. It's in general for public sector information. So, what is BDTI? BDTI, in few words, it's an enabler for a data-driven public sector. It's basically a free and ready-to-use data analytics platform based on open source technologies and tools, based on a cloud infrastructure where public administration, European public administration at each level can play with data, can test their ideas and implement their project for a duration of 6 months. In particular, BDTI wants to support and to leverage synergies between academia, public administration, and GovTech sector. We know very well that very often public administration, they don't have resources, they don't have infrastructure, they don't have skills, they don't have budget. So the aim of BDTI is to provide them the necessary onboarding services and ready-to-use tools to experiment with data-driven products for the public good. With BDTI, public administration can really benefit from a ready-to-use environment. They don't need to think about resources, settings, and configuring tools. We can start immediately building our prototypes and playing with our data. As you can see in the next slide, the big data goal is to really extract public values. We said that it's not just for big data, it's for every type of data, even if not big. I usually love using this metaphor when it's about extracting value, public value in our case, from diverse source of information, from diverse, let's say, nature of public sector information. Playing with data and create value is something similar to a recipe. We have different data. Data are our ingredients, our different flavors, and they need to be collected and prepared based on their nature. So quality and measure are key, and also the recipe have a clear flow in order to be successful. When data is processed and it's into information, then it becomes interpretable and also it gains significance. So data processing cycle is composed of different steps, you know better than me. First, you need to collect your raw data. This raw data in the public sector could be text, numbers, symbols, paper-based information. Then we need to process the data inside the context. So we need to keep in mind which is our context, and then we need to prepare, we need to link, clean the data, and to process this data. At the end, we are really creating knowledge where and when we mix together information plus context plus application or use. The output will be the information that is processed and that can be used to present our insights or our service to our final audience. So basically with the big data infrastructure, as we can see in the next slide, we really want to help this pipeline, the way you are really collecting recipe and executing recipe. we want to support public administration in creating knowledge. If you apply for a pilot that is free, you can easily check your data, explore the data, cleaning the different data set, and also connect the dots. You don't have to worry about the infrastructure because the services are already there, ready to be used. As you can see in the next slide, there are some screenshots of the BDTI platform. You can easily, let's say, start playing with data science tools. For example, with Jupyter notebooks, you can start easily create pipeline with Apache Airflow, and you can really leverage a variety of tools and technologies that are currently used in the market, not just in the public sector. Going a little bit more deeper for people that have a lot of, let's say, that are interested in the technical background. In this slide, we try to summarize the main components of our platform. They are grouped based on the functionalities. So you can see that there are some tools related to data storage. Then there are some other tools that are targeting the needs of structured information, for example, in databases. Then we have other tools that are to play with the data and to really create a pipeline. An example is NIME Analytics or maybe Apache Spark for really big data. Then finally, usually we want to create and to visualize the data, and we have some data visualization tool like Apache Superset or Metabase. So then, who is the BDTI for? We already mentioned BDTI is for European Public Administration, and as we said, we really want to help local and regional public administration, but at the same time, this is why we are here today presenting this initiative, because we see academia and GovTech private sector as key ingredients for this project. Ecosystem like having together public sector administration, academia, and maybe some spin-off from GovTech startups could be the concrete and I would say effective setting where you can and we can help together public administration to deliver value and to create public value. So the idea is that in these pilots, we could leverage master program PhD students helping public sector public sector administration, defining their pilot and also playing with the BDTI infrastructure. We know that public sector, unfortunately, is lacking a lot in terms of data skills. So this is why we see your role very key in this project. Now, my colleague Athena, she will present some pilots that we did in the past, and finally she will also introduce the process, how to apply for BDTI. Thanks, Athena. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Maria Claudia, for this great introduction. So as she has explained you now what BDTI is, let's see in practice what it does and how different European administrations have leveraged BDTI's potential. Today, I will present you 4 use cases which illustrate 4 different types of techniques you can leverage with the tools offered in BDTI. The first pilot is an example where a regional health Spanish administration used text mining. So text mining being a process which uses natural language processing to extract valuable insights from unstructured text, which will make very much sense as soon as I'll get more into the example. And this administration basically needed this tool capable of analyzing and extracting knowledge from a huge quantity of clinical articles from different sources. And in this context, BDTI contribution was to provide text mining tool to help extract this knowledge contained in the documents, which provided advanced data analytics to support clinicians and managers in their clinical practices and day-to-day activities. The second example of pilot that we have is the example of data sharing in the context of the EU convalescent plasma database. So in this example, we have the European Blood Alliance, which worked in collaboration with the EU Commission, more specifically DG Santé, and they created a solution for acquisition and data sharing. In this context, they were carrying out research to assess in which conditions the convalescence plasma treatment is most effective, um, to also take data-driven decisions making on the therapy and focus their efforts on the research. Here, BDTI offered a ready-to-use virtual environment in which data collected through a custom-built website were ingested and anonymized to then analyzed and advanced with data and advanced data visualization and analytical tools. Then the third pilot I will present you is the example of mobility data in the city of Florence. So the city of Florence in Italy used mobility data to perform a cross-correlation between the multiple data sets available within the city to understand how people were and are moving between the different districts. This actually helped them derive precious insights about mobility and how services can be redesigned to foster cultural activities and events. Here, BDTI was very valuable, mostly for its predictive, descriptive, and time series analysis on multiple datasets collected before and after COVID-19 pandemic by using, for instance, public Wi-Fi sensors, parking, georeference data of people of movements. And finally, we have our fourth pilot, which is a bit peculiar because it's a bit more technical. I hope to not lose you here. But in this context, we used semantic technologies and semantic knowledge graphs in the context of public procurement. So semantic knowledge graphs represent a network of real-world entities, such as objects, events, situations, or concepts, and they illustrate their relationships between them. In the context of this pilot, it aimed actually to construct a knowledge graph for public procurement data. And by leveraging the goals of the e-procurement data space, these projects allowed us to derive key insights on public expenditure to understand the quality of the data produced at member states level. And this pilot actually also demonstrated how public administration in this context, it was Italy and Portugal in collaboration with the Commission, could experiment using BDTI to create added value for the future definition of the e-procurement data space. In addition, it's interesting to mention that actually the people who worked on this project were then able to publish an article, which you can actually see on the screen, and which was later accepted at the International Semantic Web Conference. So overall, the main pilots that I just presented all leverage the benefits of BDTI. And the main benefits of BDTI can be summarized in three key points. The first advantage is that BDTI is a 6-month free of charge service, which includes technical support and access to technical tools, but you also have advisory, which is something much needed to make sure that you can define a use case in a constrained and narrowed down way. The second big advantage is that it allows you to experiment with data analytics using high performance infrastructure, leveraging the power of cloud. And finally, you will receive guidance to move from a pilot to a production ready process. As we mentioned, that it was only a pilot for 6 months. And this can be very valuable to continue your efforts in your own environment. So overall, the main advantage of BDTI is to extract value. So in order for you to be able to extract value from the use of BDTI, the first step would be to look for a partner from the public sector, whether it's a local, regional, or national level, and together define your data analytics use case using our template that you can find on our website. Then the public partner will have to submit the pilot request by email, and then we will schedule a meeting to make sure that we can define together your use case. Once the pilot is approved, if it brings value and can be done during the duration of 6 months, your test environment will be set up and you will be able to start piloting and creating value. Here is our information if you want to submit an application. You can also find the links to our website. And we thank you for your attention. And if you have any question, we will be at the conference and we'll be happy to discuss with you, unless you're not at the conference, and then you can just shoot us a message by email. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you. See you very soon. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.